Dvalishvili is just days away from defending his bantamweight title at UFC 320. And according to his teammate and close friend Aljamain Sterling, the champion is looking more dangerous than ever. In a recent reveal, Sterling shared a behind-the-scenes story from their final hard training session leading into fight week, one that left everyone in the gym stunned. Sterling explained that during sparring, Dvalishvili landed a massive punch that dropped one of his teammates hard. While sparring knockdowns are not entirely uncommon, the sheer force behind Merab's strike raised eyebrows. "That power is real," Sterling said. "If the opening presents itself, he absolutely has the ability to knock out Corey Sandhagen at any moment." Still, despite praising his teammate's striking power, Sterling emphasized that Dvalishvili's biggest strength remains his relentless pressure and grappling heavy approach. He expects the champion to lean into what has brought him this far: overwhelming pace, constant takedown attempts, and suffocating top control. "I think the most likely outcome is Merab grinding his way to a submission," Sterling explained. "He has a style that has already broken so many elite bantamweights, and once he latches onto your neck, it's like a pit bull, you're not getting free." If Dvalishvili successfully defends his belt against Sandhagen, the implications will be massive. The Georgian would notch his third consecutive title defense, tying both Sterling and Dominic Cruz for the most defenses in UFC bantamweight history. Considering his already dominant resume filled with wins over elite competition, adding a name like Sandhagen could push him into greatest of all time discussions at 135 pounds. "This win could cement him as the bantamweight GOAT," Sterling said. "His resume already speaks for itself, but beating Corey adds another scalp that puts him into rarefied air." Sterling also pointed out that at 35 years old, Dvalishvili appears to be improving rather than slowing down. His ability to add new tools to his arsenal, while still maintaining his trademark intensity, has impressed even those who know him best. "It's scary," Sterling admitted. "You're getting better at 35. How is this happening?" While many analysts believe submission is the most likely outcome, Sterling cautioned against underestimating Sandhagen. Known for his toughness, creativity, and sharp striking, Sandhagen is not an easy man to put away. "Sandhagen is a dog," Sterling said. "I think he's learned from our fight. He may not be the strongest guy physically, but he's skilled, he's tough, and he's going to bring it." Ultimately, Sterling believes that whether by knockout, submission, or decision, Dvalishvili will find a way to win. "If I'm betting, I'm just betting for the win," he said. "You never know exactly how it happens, but Merab is too strong, too relentless, and too dangerous right now." With so much on the line at UFC 320, fans are eager to see if Dvalishvili can further solidify his legacy. Can he tie the bantamweight title defense record and put himself in GOAT conversations, or will Sandhagen spoil the party? One thing is certain: Merab Dvalishvili is entering fight night sharper, stronger, and hungrier than ever. As UFC 320 weigh-ins draw near, tensions are already rising outside of the octagon. Russian media influencer Alanbek Badvi has stirred the pot by releasing a teaser clip from his upcoming interview with lightweight contender Arman Tsarukyan. In the clip, Tsarukyan confirmed that he recently had a run-in with none other than Paddy Pimblett, and while the encounter didn't escalate to physical blows, it certainly sparked a heated exchange. Although the exact location of the confrontation hasn't been specified, it's widely believed to have taken place in Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world and home to UFC 320 Fight Week. With two massive title fights on the card, it's no surprise that many of the sport's biggest stars have gathered in the city. And fiery interactions like this one are bound to happen when rival personalities cross paths. According to Tsarukyan, the back and forth with Pimblett was sharp and intense, though both fighters stopped short of letting it devolve into an actual altercation. The timing of this confrontation is particularly intriguing given the trajectory of both fighters' careers. Just days ago, Tsarukyan's next fight was officially announced, a clash with Dan Hooker. That matchup has significant implications for the lightweight division, as a strong performance from Tsarukyan could position him even closer to a title shot in one of the UFC's most stacked weight classes. On the other side, Pimblett's next steps appear to be equally important. While there has been plenty of speculation about potential opponents, Tsarukyan himself revealed that the UFC is planning a marquee showdown between Pimblett and featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. The fight could happen as early as 2026, and if finalized, it would be one of the biggest matchups in recent UFC history. Topuria has been on a dominant run, and Pimblett, with his massive fanbase and outspoken personality, remains one of the promotion's most marketable stars. Interestingly, Tsarukyan hinted that the UFC isn't particularly supportive of Justin Gaethje's recent comments about retiring if he doesn't secure a fight with Topuria. That frustration from the promotion may have accelerated talks of a Pimblett versus Topuria showdown. Should it materialize, fans would be treated to a clash between two polarizing figures with very different fighting styles and personalities, something the UFC always thrives on. For now, all eyes remain on UFC 320. Tsarukyan is locked in on Dan Hooker, a dangerous veteran who has faced the best of the best in the lightweight division. A win over Hooker could catapult Tsarukyan's stock to new heights and cement him as one of the top contenders for the lightweight title. Meanwhile, Pimblett continues to draw attention wherever he goes, whether through his fights, his interviews, or, in this case, his run-ins with other fighters during a high-profile fight week. The confrontation between Tsarukyan and Pimblett may not have ended in fireworks, but it has added even more intrigue to an already stacked UFC 320 card. With title implications, future superstar matchups, and heated rivalries bubbling just beneath the surface, fight fans are in for an unforgettable weekend. Khalil Rountree is preparing for the biggest test of his career as he steps into the octagon against former light heavyweight champion Jiří Procházka at UFC 320. While the matchup promises fireworks on paper, Rountree has openly admitted that he hopes the fight doesn't turn into the kind of chaotic war that Procházka is notorious for. In a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Rountree spoke candidly about his mindset heading into this clash. Known for his calm and thoughtful approach outside the cage, the 34-year-old admitted that while he is ready for battle, he would prefer to fight with discipline and precision rather than get dragged into a reckless firefight. "I'm prepared for whatever," Rountree explained. "But am I praying for some violent, bloody match? Absolutely not. If it goes there, it goes there. Can it go there? Absolutely. And I'll be prepared." This measured mentality highlights the evolution of Rountree's game. Early in his UFC career, he was often known as a power puncher who relied heavily on aggression. Over time, however, he has developed into a far more composed and technically sound striker, relying on timing, defense, and patience rather than wild exchanges. Against Procházka, a fighter who thrives in unpredictability, this shift in style could be crucial. Procházka has built a reputation as one of the most exciting and unpredictable fighters in MMA. His unorthodox striking, constant forward pressure, and willingness to embrace chaos make him a nightmare for anyone in the division. He has dragged countless opponents into wild brawls, often coming out on top through sheer tenacity and unrelenting offense. For this reason, fans and analysts alike are split on how this matchup might unfold. Will Rountree be able to maintain composure against such relentless unpredictability, or will Procházka's style force him into the fire? Rountree pointed to his past fight against Alex Pereira as proof that he can handle himself in a war if necessary. In that bout, he showed his willingness to bite down on the mouthpiece and trade when pushed, proving his toughness against one of the most dangerous strikers in the sport. "After that Alex fight, I proved to myself how far I can go and how far I'm willing to go if the fight takes me there," Rountree said. "So I know I can do it. But if I had the choice, I'd rather not. Ideally, I want to stay sharp, use my tools, and fight my fight." It's important to note that Procházka is far from a reckless brawler. His most recent outing against Jamahal Hill showcased noticeable improvements in his striking defense and head movement, proving that he is constantly evolving as a fighter. Rountree acknowledged this, noting that while Procházka thrives in chaos, he also has the technical skills to back it up. Ultimately, the matchup between Khalil Rountree and Jiří Procházka has all the ingredients to be one of the most exciting fights on the UFC 320 card. Whether it plays out as a calculated chess match or descends into an all-out war, fans can expect both men to leave everything inside the octagon. For Rountree, the goal is clear: remain composed, stick to his tools, and prove that he belongs among the very best in the light heavyweight division. Reinier De Ridder has been making headlines lately, not only for his upcoming fight but also for his insights into one of the most dominant figures in the UFC today, Khamzat Chimaev. In his recent appearance on the Overdogs podcast with Mike Perry, the Dutch middleweight contender gave fans a clear breakdown of what he believes is the blueprint to defeating the undefeated champion. Originally, De Ridder was scheduled to headline UFC Vancouver against Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez. However, when Hernandez was forced to withdraw, the matchup fell through. Now, De Ridder is set to take on Brendan Allen in what promises to be a pivotal fight in the middleweight division. Still, while the immediate focus is on Allen, De Ridder didn't shy away from addressing the bigger picture. When it comes to Chimaev, De Ridder explained that the biggest key to victory is preventing him from securing back control. "You can't let Khamzat get to your back. That's where things go downhill fast," he said. Rather than relying solely on defending takedowns, De Ridder believes the smarter strategy is to mix in offensive wrestling threats of his own. "You can't just wait for him to shoot. You have to give him something to think about, because my top game is dangerous too." This insight is significant coming from De Ridder, who has built his reputation as one of the most dangerous grapplers in the division. If anyone understands the risks of letting a fighter dominate from the back, it's him. But for now, he insists all of his attention is locked on Brendan Allen. Allen has proven himself as one of the toughest rising stars in the middleweight division. Despite being tested by high-level opponents, he has consistently shown grit, durability, and finishing ability. De Ridder acknowledged the danger Allen brings but made it clear that he intends to do something no one has been able to do in recent memory. Not just beat Allen, but finish him. Both Fluffy Hernandez and Nassourdine Imavov fought Brendan and lost the first round, De Ridder noted. Brendan even came close to finishing Fluffy in the last round. "Nobody's been able to put him away. What if I do that? That's what I'm focused on." De Ridder also revealed some behind-the-scenes details about the UFC Vancouver card, particularly regarding Paulo Costa. According to him, Costa was originally offered the fight but turned it down because he only wanted a 3-round bout, refusing to take a 5-rounder. De Ridder didn't hold back in criticizing Costa, calling it a missed opportunity to fight a top-ranked opponent on a big stage. For De Ridder, staying active is all part of a bigger plan. He openly admitted that one of his main motivations for staying on the Vancouver card was the possibility of landing a fight with Chimaev before Ramadan, which begins in February. "If I beat Brendan Allen in January, I think I have a good chance," he explained. "That's why I wanted to keep pushing forward. A win here could set me up perfectly for Khamzat." As UFC Vancouver approaches, De Ridder finds himself in a pivotal position. With a strong performance against Brendan Allen, he won't just strengthen his standing in the division. He could move one step closer to the fight he truly wants, a showdown with Khamzat Chimaev. Former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker has given his take on one of the hottest debates in mixed martial arts right now: how Alex Pereira would have fared against fighters from past generations. While many fans have speculated about hypothetical matchups, Whittaker didn't hesitate to name one legend he believes would have given Pereira major problems: Daniel Cormier. Speaking in a recent discussion, Whittaker explained that Prime Cormier, particularly during his light heavyweight run, would have been stylistically one of Pereira's toughest matchups. "You know who would have given Alex hell? DC," Whittaker said. "Light heavyweight DC would have run him over. I reckon Jones and DC ran that division, and there really wasn't anyone who could take their spots at that time." It's a fascinating perspective given Pereira's current dominance in the UFC. Known for his devastating knockout power and elite kickboxing credentials, Pereira has quickly climbed the ranks, capturing titles in 2 weight classes. His striking has overwhelmed some of the best fighters in the world, and his ability to end fights in an instant has made him one of the most feared athletes in the sport. However, as Whittaker points out, styles make fights, and against a wrestler of Cormier's caliber, Pereira might have found himself in uncharted waters. Cormier, during his prime, was renowned for his Olympic-level wrestling, relentless pressure, and ability to dictate where the fight took place. Even in his light heavyweight days, despite being undersized compared to many of his opponents, DC's physical strength, top control, and grinding pace allowed him to dominate elite strikers. Fighters like Alexander Gustafsson, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and even Stipe Miocic at heavyweight all felt the suffocating weight of Cormier's grappling-heavy approach. Against Pereira, Whittaker believes that same skill set would have been the perfect antithesis to the Brazilian striking. Stylistically, DC is just the opposite of Alex, Whittaker explained. He could close the distance, drag him to the mat, and keep him there. I think it would have been a nightmare matchup for Pereira. Whittaker also noted that Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier dominated the light heavyweight division during their respective peaks, leaving little room for others to take over. In that era, elite strikers who couldn't stop the takedown often struggled against DC's wrestling, and Whittaker believes Pereira would have been no exception. That said, the conversation also opened up broader curiosity about how Pereira might fare against other fighters with contrasting styles, including modern contenders like Carlos Ulberg. Pereira's explosiveness and knockout threat ensure that no matchup is ever straightforward, but the hypothetical scenarios highlight just how fascinating the sport's what-if debates can be. While fans will never see a prime Daniel Cormier face off against Alex Pereira, Whittaker's comments fueled the imagination of MMA enthusiasts. Would Pereira's striking be enough to overcome Cormier's wrestling? Or would DC's relentless grappling nullify the power and precision that has made Pereira such a force in today's UFC? As Pereira continues to cement his legacy, conversations like these serve as a reminder of how greats from different eras might have clashed, and just how much styles define success in mixed martial arts.